In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one, the only, Cash Kraus.
Is everything running all right?
Everything is running.
What are the
okay.
levels at? Are we being
The levels are good right now. I'm
scared
double
for it.
checking. I know. I was like, hey, what? Oh, I'm not used to that. Fuck.
I did not like the look on that face.
No.
That's the face you do not want to fucking see if anything mechanical.
Right,
You don't want to call in from the space station and be like, is everything all right? And the guy's like,
fuck. He looks like,
yeah, it's cool up
yeah,
here.
no, definitely. No, we're all right. Yeah.
How are you?
Reminds you of that Han Solo.
Yeah,
you know?
Family Guy does a joke about that too. Yeah. Anyways, there were some technical difficulties.
There were on a different podcast that is.
Yes, we had some bad micro SD cards.
Yes, we did.
Someone's
some
hacking
corrupted
us.
files.
Someone does not want this shit
No,
getting
they
out.
do not. They said we got to shut that shit down.
It's dangerous.
They're talking.
All right, Mason, but we are back. It's been kind of a while.
It has been.
Took a little vacay.
Of course.
You needed it. After that year, everyone needed some time.
Yeah, I would say so. And people commenting, they're like, hey, where'd you guys go?
Yeah.
Look, guys, we took the holidays off.
We are still alive.
We are. Luckily.
COVID did not take us quite yet.
No, it
but,
has not.
We're back. We're back
We
for
are.
a foreign film Friday. And
Feels good to do another one, too.
it does.
Yeah.
It's been a while before our break even that we've done a foreign film Friday.
Yep.
So it's nice to get back, and we're going back to one of our favorite countries of filmmakers.
Man, I love, and we're going back to
North Korea.
North Korea, absolutely.
Their propaganda films.
Kim Jong-un.
Oh my
so
God!
good.
You hear he
As
doesn't
he
poop.
walks and his hair just flutters. in
He
the
doesn't
wind.
poop. He says he doesn't need
doesn't
to poop.
poop,
Doesn't have a
no.
butthole.
But I heard he eats a lot of food.
He does.
Heard
A lot of
that, like,
hamburgers.
cheeseburger- yeah,
he
cheeseburgers,
loves, hates
absolutely.
America.
Right.
Loves hamburgers.
I wonder if he puts American cheese on those burgers.
course he
Of
does.
course he does. That
Is there any other way to have
hypocrite.
it?
That hypocrite.
Yeah.
You can't have a burger
He can
with
have
American
our burgers, but he
cheese.
can't have our democracy.
No, he cannot. Absolutely not.
No, of course we're talking about the good Korea.
Yes, the great Korea.
South Korea. Great fucking filmmakers.
Unquestionably, and like the more seriously, Cash, the more we jump in, the more we watch South Korean films.
Yeah.
I have genuinely never not been excited to jump in. When we do a Foreign Film Friday and we start talking about South Korean films, I'm like, sweet, awesome. I haven't seen one. I haven't seen one that has been bad. I haven't seen one that's been atrocious where I was like, what the fuck were they doing? I feel like we're getting that a lot in American films, and I'm sure there's South Korean films that are like that.
Oh,
but
absolutely,
the
of
ones
course.
we've watched
Yeah.
so far have been really good.
Well, I think it's because we mostly stuck to a very specific genre.
Yeah.
And we figured out that Koreans do this genre very well, horror or thriller. They do very well.
Yeah, and I like the style, man. I might be more of a fan of horror in South
that's what-
Korea than I am here.
You talk about style. That's what every South Korean horror film or thriller, it just drips with fucking style.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, the clothing, the cinematography, it's so much
And
style
the
to it.
originality of the stories.
Yeah, the wardrobe, everyone,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the homeless people in these films are dressed like, dressed in an awesome fashion. I mean,
Yeah.
everything looks, even when they're like lounging at home, they always look so fucking cool. I don't understand it. South Koreans, I mean, it's amazing. And let's talk about the aging. I can't tell if people are 20 or 40 or 80. It's
neither can I.
It's wild.
It's not like that.
I've never seen it
I
before.
know, it's not like that Gully Boy situation.
Oh my God. Well,
in
that guy,
India,
yeah.
where that guy was like, "Oh, I'm 17," and it's like,
India,
that
they
guy
don't
looks 40.
age as gracefully.
They do
In
not.
fucking, I mean, Asian countries in general, but South Korea, my God.
Mm-hmm.
And it works well for this film. We are doing the thriller The Call on Netflix, but it works well for this film because it's two different timelines. But it's like Koreans, they don't age ever, so it's like, yeah, throw some gray hair on that guy. He's a 20-year-old, but he can also play a 40-year-old, and you can't tell the difference.
No,
it's crazy. This movie is about a person in our time, is in the present, that
2019,
that talks. They move into a house. She picks up a phone and she's able to talk to someone that lived in that house in like the 80s.
20 years ago. So that would have been 1999.
Yeah, okay, so 1999. Yes, 20 years ago. But yeah, it works perfectly because like her dad can play her dad in one time, and then he can play another, and they just put gray hair on him. But it's insane. And her mom, the mom of I can't remember her name. You know, the crazy lady.
Oh yeah,
What was that?
The shaman.
She could have been her sister.
Yeah, she definitely could have been.
It's
Young Suk,
Yeah, it's well, Young Suk is the girl.
the crazy one.
Yeah, what's her mom?
Oh, the mom's name. I'm not quite. I don't remember the mom's.
But goddamn, the sexiest shaman you've ever fucking seen.
I know, right? I was like,
That's what I'm saying. In Korea, even the witches are drop dead beautiful. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I do love watching their films. They just have so much style, and they're just a lot of swagger and coolness to it. They just fucking know that they're cool too.
They do.
Everything they do is cool. But yeah, what did you think about The Call? This is a film based on another film called The Caller. That's a Puerto Rican British film. They had to switch up. They couldn't do The Caller. They had to just switch to The Call. Right. That way you don't get it mixed up.
Yeah.
But what did you think about it, Mason?
Overall, I was very pleased with this. I really enjoyed this film from start to finish. My only, and this is just like a minor critique, but you have to suspend your belief just a little bit in the very opening of this movie, because for me, most people aren't like this, where they lose their cell phone and they're just like, You know,
she did call.
She did call. She did call.
And the guy, and I wouldn't have done this either.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, yeah, we'll get your cell phone back for money.
Yeah, for money. Yeah, exactly. And you're like,
I'll go buy a new cell phone.
Some woman in the background was like trying to.
Get money. Get money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone. I would have met up with that guy. But yeah, the big disbelief for me was that they weren't freaking out that they had a telephone that's called the past. They didn't really were like, oh my God, I got to call a scientist or something about that.
Yeah.
They're just like, you know, but it made sense for me, especially on the other end, the 1999, because that girl was a little kooky.
Yeah,
so her picking up a magic phone, I mean, it seemed to be on par with her life.
And her mom was a shaman, so you know.
So you think everything's got to be magic or cursed,
yeah,
or
of course.
But I have to talk about this,
Okay.
Because this film, like I said, was based on a film that came out in 2011, but there is an American film that shares a lot of similarities to this fucking
Really?
film. That came out in 2000 or the late 90s, has Dennis Quaid in it, and as Jim Caviezel, Jesus Christ himself,
Pre-Christ?
pre-lightning strikes.
Yes, okay.
So still a little normal at this time.
Yeah.
But it's a film called Frequency, and it's I don't know how they kind of got away with it. And I had to look up, because I'm like, oh my God, this is like the same film. I had to look up. I found one really obscure review of this film that also said it's like Frequency. So in Frequency, a guy picks up a ham radio, you know, CB radio, and he's able to talk the Northern Lights happen, or Aurora Borealis, and he's able to talk to his dad in 1969. Whoa. His dad dies in a fire. Just like just like her dad. And in Frequency, he's able to talk to his dad and prevent him from dying from the fire, just like she does in this film.
Right.
There's a lot of similarities. Towards the second part, it diverges.
It really does turn, yeah.
But there is a lot of fucking similarities. Like the thing of him calling or her calling, and then the time changes, you know, like it fractures and whatnot. And then she's the only one to know the past and the present, what happened. It's the same exact thing in that film. It's very similar, but this film did it a lot better.
A lot better than
that film is good. I actually love that film. It's a high concept film. Like the late 90s had a lot of those films that were really good concepts, but weren't executed great. Yeah. That film was one of them. But I was so shocked that it didn't mention in the Wikipedia page or anything that it
Had close ties to Frequency.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of movies with that kind of storyline where someone picks up a phone, but it's very similar. If you get the chance, watch Frequency. It's a really good film.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Jim Caviezel is great in it, and so is Dennis Quaid. But it's the same thing where they have to hunt down a serial killer and shit like that. In this one, it ends up being that young Sook is the serial killer.
She is. Her mom got a little crazy with her, she's beating the shit out of her, bringing her down to the basement.
Wild shit.
At some point, you got to retaliate, right? I mean, if she's doing that kind of shit to you, she's torturing you. So, I mean, the mom kind of put it on herself for this, her daughter being a psychopath.
Well, the mom... I
mean,
love the story of the mom killed a lot of people before she was arrested. She was arrested and killed a lot of people because, and what we've seen from other South Korean films is shamans are a real thing. I mean, they're a legit thing. If you go buy a house, you got to have a shaman come in and bless that. If shit's going wrong, you got to have him come. And sometimes shamans fucking suck.
They do. Sometimes
there's good,
not
like
good
anything,
people.
there's
They're
good shamans and there's bad shamans.
Exactly.
But the ones we've seen so far do not paint a pretty picture of the shamans.
Don't. It is in cross-reference. It is the same way shamans are depicted in South Korea, the same way police officers are depicted in India. Rarely good, mostly bad.
Good. Yeah. As every once in a while, you'll see one good one,
Right.
but 98% of them are not good. They'll beat you in the street. They'll beat you in front of everyone.
Of course.
Not shamans, but Indian police.
yeah.
Well, shamans, I think, would beat you
curse
too.
you or vex you or something. I don't know.
But yeah, I liked that whole storyline of the mom and how it slowly unfolded that young Sook, spoiler alert, was. But you get why.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't feel bad for her.
No.
Not when she starts killing, you don't feel bad for her. You feel bad for her. That's why I think this film can really be split into two parts. It really changes through the midsection of once young Sook kills her mom, it becomes the first half is like a supernatural horror.
Yeah.
Where you're getting those scenes of her in the present breaking down the wall.
Yes.
And then she goes in the wall and it's the same kind of, she's going into the past also.
Very good character development too
Yeah.
to set up the second part of the film. That's something they did well, and I didn't feel like any scene was misplaced or we didn't need.
Yeah.
I thought it was set up very well as you were saying.
And by that second half, it keeps with that supernatural element. It's not nearly as potent in the first half, but then it really becomes that serial killer mystery thriller.
Right.
Where one person's a race against the clock to prevent this lady from killing her fucking family in the past. It's a headache.
Well, and that's the thing too with young Sook was initially, and obviously you kind of knew, if you knew the premise of the movie, you knew it was going to eventually turn, right? But you start to sympathize with the character early on in the first part of this film because she's getting beat by her mother. And then she does something pretty cool, pretty heroic at the time. And she goes and saves Seo-yeon,
Yes.
mother, or
Who's
her
the
father,
person in the present.
Yeah. And then to go turn off the stove. Very interesting, though. I love that the way they set that up is because we saw her in the window, but that was it for a little while. It was later revealed in the film that it was actually Seo-yeon who was watching this cartoon of hot stoves and off and on and hot and cold.
Yep.
That
It was
she went
the
over there and turned it
Korean
back
Sesame
on.
Street.
It was. Odd thing, though, to be teaching kids how to turn on stoves.
Well, I think they were trying to teach him to turn them off. I don't think we missed the part where we were like, hey, don't forget, you want to crank that baby
shit up. Yeah.
So I think maybe they were just teaching him to crank. But I guess,
so.
It's forbidden knowledge. You know how to turn it on, you can turn it off.
Yeah.
But I like that too.
Yeah.
Like I said, the first half, because I read the premise for it before I watched it. I mean, I didn't read the plot, I just read the premise. And it talked about a serial killer a lot. In the first half, you're like, when does the serial killer come into play?
Who is the serial killer? Yeah.
Because no one gets killed into the first half
Yeah.
at all, except for, people get tortured.
Oh, they do.
And man, the torture, it's some fucking wild shaman torture. You got a lot of whips. You're getting just dust thrown
They
at
like
you.
the bell, too.
Yeah.
It just cause chaos in your mind is what I always think.
It really makes you kind of think is oh my God, was the mom right? Did she really know? Because the mom constantly says, oh, I saw you kill these people.
Yep.
But it's like
and we see like a 2-second.
It's like a chicken and egg thing where it's like she's probably killing those people because you're torturing her.
Yeah.
But the mom's only seeing that she's killing the people, so she's trying to. But let me tell you, if you think your kid might be a serial killer, there's other ways to handle it.
Well,
torture
there are mental hospitals that you can take them to. You can get them.
Never
better.
is torture the answer.
No, it's not.
Never. That's just fanning the flame.
It absolutely.
I'm going to torture the evil out of this guy.
Exactly. I'm going to torture you to get the answer I want. Right?
Yeah,
it always works, and they're always honest about it. That's what I've come to realize. I've done a lot of torturing in my day.
I know you
One
have.
thing I can tell you is you'll always get the answer you want.
After a while,
After a while,
they'll tell you the fucking sky is red. They'll tell you anything. But yeah, great torture scenes, very realistic, I felt. And the acting is phenomenal. Young Suk does such a good job. She's the one that steals the show for me. Because she's in a lot of the heavier scenes, a lot of the torture scenes and whatnot. But once she goes off the fucking rails, she becomes a great fucking serial killer.
Yeah, for sure.
Arc character.
Her name's Jong Soo.
Yeah, and I don't know. She could either be 13 or 30.
I know.
What-
One of those things. Yeah.
Does it say? Does she have a Wikipedia page?
She does have a Wikipedia
I really
page.
want to know.
And her age, she was born in 1994, so she's 26.
She's our age. She's my age. Yeah, yeah. But she played. Would she play like a 15-year-old maybe in this?
She played pretty young.
She played a young person for sure. Yeah, but yeah, and that's was one thing I was questioning too. She got away at one point to go help the dad. Mm-hmm. I thought she'd just take off.
Yeah.
Like, what are you sticking around for? But the whole thing is she found a friend.
Exactly.
And she couldn't leave. And that was, again, the whole thing of, that's the kind of sense I got with the dad thing, that maybe she wasn't doing this to save a person, but doing it just to keep that person on the line.
Well, and that's the thing, too.
Because she gets very angry.
Exactly. You see her, once the father comes back into her life, she's spending more time with the father. And that is getting Young Suk very upset. She's starting to get mad. She's starting to get irate, and that's when you see the turn. And that's where I think it's brilliant, where they made the turn of like her trying to be a friend to her trying to be controlling and a little psychotic, because she just starts laughing and be like, "You fucking bitch," and then would like hang up the phone. And
she laughs
okay.
for a long time.
It's that weird.
That's where I'd be like,
unnecessary laughing.
all right, I gotta go. She's still laughing. And you're just like,
bye.
What the yeah, okay, thank you. And you just gotta hang up and click it, and then destroy that phone.
Oh no, yeah,
destroy
that shit in a fire. Break it up and then throw it in a fire.
But it's what I loved about it was it's a new take on that thriller aspect of the thriller having it's a thriller. It's a killer you can't stop. Because it's taking place in the past.
20 years ago.
So you are completely defenseless.
Yes. And that's a cool concept too, because as you said, you're completely defenseless. You are a child back then. You have no idea what's going on. And then they bring that up later on. It's brilliant. It's really cool how they do that.
Yeah. It's cool, and it's fucking very evil on Young Suk's part.
Oh, absolutely.
But
the trauma. That's one thing. That was the only thing for me. You got to be going through some trauma, right? If you were that child, and then 20 years from now, so you have all that recollection, memory of those events taking place, right?
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
Oh, absolutely, and that's it. That's what I think they're alluding at with like, and that's what I loved. I love the transitions so much more in this film than in Frequency. But in Frequency in 1999, they didn't have the technology. But I love when the dad dies later on for the second time.
Yeah.
And the car just kind of disappears and everything.
In the tunnel.
Those transitions were really cool. Or in the, like when...
or the house too.
When she saved him from the fire. And then like the embers from the flame of the house trying to disappear while she was there sitting in... It was super cool. Super well done too. And then she's just laying in the tunnel after I like that a lot too.
Yes. And then I like the scene, the Strawberry Man scene.
Yeah.
She goes up the stairs, comes back
Where
down,
are
and
my
they're like,
strawberries?
Yeah. She's like, what are you guys talking about? Her two parents are like, what are you talking about? There is no strawberry.
That poor
man.
bastard.
Just a victim.
He had no part in this.
He's just trying to make a living. Small
delicious strawberries. They're hard to grow.
Yeah, they are. But unfortunately, he met his demise.
Yeah, that was a tough
Got
one.
a little too nosy.
Got hacked up.
Well, you can't. I don't know why you're going through other people's refrigerators.
That's true.
Let me just public service announcement here. If you see a bunch of garbage bags, black garbage bag wrapped up, don't peek
Leaking?
inside them.
Let me tell you, they can only be one thing.
Yes.
There's never a guy that just has like loose meat in a
Or-
black
or a
bag. I
bunch
just
of
went to the butcher
old
shop.
pomegranates.
Yeah,
you know?
it's not, and it's not gonna happen. It's never not body parts.
Mm-hmm.
What have you never seen a goddamn or a documentary
Yeah.
before about a serial killer? Let's be real.
Get out of the house, call law enforcement, and call it a day. All right? It's not worth losing your life.
Well, we know one thing about Korean law enforcement is they send one guy.
They do. There's
never
no
send-
backup. There's no partner in this. Look,
Although it is established early on that they are in a rural area
Yeah, they
of
are.
South Korea.
Yes.
That's really in the middle of nowhere. It's just farmland. So I guess you probably only have one fucking
and
cop.
they did set that up well with the strawberry guy. You know, with his.
That's one thing
fields
is there's
and stuff.
not very many holes. I mean, I can usually pick out the smallest hole in a film, and there's not very many holes.
There
in
really
this.
aren't.
They really cover their asses,
Yeah.
and that's one thing about South Koreans is their writing is very strong.
It is very strong.
Very strong, rock solid. There's not, you can't really poke a lot. Even in a crazy kind of fucking premise of someone calling someone from the past.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is a story like this in lazy writing, you could have had literally 500
yeah.
plot holes, and you'd be like, this movie could have been made horribly. Very
Oh, yeah,
easily.
for sure, yeah.
And they did a great job. I mean, they really did nail it.
Yeah,
So,
they did. You know what my first thought was? Someone called me from the future.
What's that?
Sports Almanac. Of course.
Give it to me, please.
She was in 1999, so she's definitely saw Back to the Future.
Exactly.
She
That's
was
only
in the
14 years into the almanac. All right.
Yeah,
85 to
exactly.
15.
So she knows exactly. I'm thinking, give me the sports, all the sports fucking, how they end. I'm gonna leave this crazy ass mom. I take off right now. She leaves the door unlocked. You're fucking become Biff Tannen. You become president of the United States at one point. I don't understand.
I don't get it either.
People never think about that. When
No, they
someone comes to the future, I want to know all the betting. I want to know everything.
Or I'd be telling them in 1999, when you hear about Bitcoin, I need you to buy me 10,000 of those coins for a penny.
I'm glad you.
Okay.
There's a hilarious, and I didn't want to bring it up this much, but there's a hilarious part in Frequency where the very last line, like right before the radio doesn't work anymore. I can't remember why, but
Says, buy Bitcoin.
he says, "Remember Yahoo."
Oh, no. Which is ironic now because Yahoo has since plummeted
this
quite a
is
bit.
the 2000 when it came out though.
okay.
So Yahoo was on top
was
of the
huge.
fucking
It
world.
was.
And the last scene you get is the main guy, Jim Caviezel, driving away in a Ferrari, and his license plate says Yahoo.
Yahoo.
I like that they added that.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I like that film so much.
Since
but
then, the car has been repoed.
yeah.
And
Well, yeah, I assume Yahoo was probably sold and bought multiple times
Yes.
since 2000.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm sure that he would have gotten out by then. But Yahoo's still a fucking thing. I got a
definitely
Yahoo,
is.
man.
Yeah,
You're
it definitely
still
is.
pretty
Yeah,
rich
yeah,
if you own
yeah.
a lot of stock in
yes.
Yahoo.
Especially
But,
for pennies on the dollar.
But yeah, that was the kind of thing I was hoping. But Yang Suk wasn't looking to get rich.
No, she was not.
She was looking for
For revenge.
a different
And then
kind,
yeah.
kind of wealth.
Yeah.
That's the wealth of sweet
Corpses.
revenge, and you can't put a dollar on that.
No, you
just
cannot.
You can't put a dollar amount on it.
That scene too, the climactic scene of this film, when she had all those freezers, you're like, okay, this bitch is crazy, bro. She can't quit killing people. And
Well, you
at
want-
some point,
Yes.
at some point, right? You got to start asking questions. You're trying to tell me the cops never showed up and followed up on the questions that they had for, and then there's 40 fucking freezers.
Well,
in
at
her
some
house?
point, the lady from the future has to stop giving her helping hand. Oh, and don't forget, you get arrested November 9th. Those are the exact day. Oh, really? She's writing all this shit down. Oh, that's so
Like,
strange.
how do I get arrested? She uses the leverage too for that, which I thought was pretty good writing as well.
Yeah, it's again really good acting because when she tells her she gets arrested, it's like she's not really surprised. She's like, "Of course I'm going to get arrested at some point. I've murdered 8 people at this point."
Yeah, she's got a little tally mark.
But she
system.
starts. But the only thing that starts to work like a real psychopath is how she's going to get out of it.
Yes.
And she fucking does. And it's the lady in the future ends up doing everything wrong. I mean, it starts out, but then she does everything fucking wrong. She can't help it. But yeah, it's crazy scene when she's on the phone and she's like, "Here, listen to this." And it's herself crying. And she's
Yeah.
like, "I'm going to fucking kill you," right?
I'm not just gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking torture you.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It's
child.
wild. It's crazy. I was hoping she was gonna like start chopping hands off, and then in the future you get the
that's what I was thinking, too.
hand.
I was thinking she was going to go
cliche.
with the pinky or
Yeah,
something.
it's too cliche. It happens too much. But yeah, that's that whole crazy thing of her kidnapping the whole family later on, and then the fire extinguishers. What a weapon to have!
I guess pretty effective.
Remember, she had like 30 of them.
Hey,
For some
look.
reason, fire extinguishers don't affect the person spraying the fire extinguisher.
No, only the person receiving
That's one
the
hole.
blow.
I feel like. Because remember when her mom tries to kill her early on, does a couple stabby stabs with the ceremonial fucking shaman
thing?
knife that
Yeah.
she got out of the fish tank. But
Great place to hide it. By
that
the way.
is a great
That's
place
actually
to
pretty
hide.
clever.
Write that down.
Seriously.
No
You
one's
need to-
checking a fish tank.
No. If you need to hide any sort of weaponry, just hide it under the rock. You know?
It's genius.
It is.
No one's checking that. But yeah, when she sprays her, and then like the next it cuts to, and the mom's like on the ground, like knocked down, the knife's gone,
Yep.
and then young Suk is like, it's this ultimate weapon, the fire extinguisher.
It is.
And every time she sees someone about to kill, go get the fire extinguisher. Yeah, someone's got to be asking questions. Why the fuck you buying so many fire extinguishers?
Seriously. What are you using these for?
Yeah, no one should have 30 fire extinguishers. But yeah, keynote. Good weapon. Use it
Great
as
weapon.
fog. Use it as an assault weapon.
Use it to kill people.
She uses it a lot.
She does. She does.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I
Yeah.
thought it was a great fucking film. It's probably going to make my top list.
Now, I do want to bring this up before we close this podcast. What did you think about the mid-credit scenes at the end?
I don't even know if I saw him.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. It gets a little convoluted in those
Mid-credit scenes?
Yes, which is the actual finale of this film.
I did not know that.
So, obviously, she's reunited with her mom, who she thinks died, but then we see the scars, right?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Right, okay, so
Yeah.
that's the ending. We're just
Oh, okay, yeah.
jumping up to speed here. But then in the mid-credit scene,
It's like an Avengers movie.
it is the older young Suk, which is the villain, right, uses the phone to call her younger counterpart to warn her about the mom. Okay, and then it cuts and then it goes to credits for a little while. Then it comes back.
Right.
And it goes at the end. The scene cuts to the. She warns her about the mom, obviously.
Yes.
So then we see this girl this person in a chair with a cloth over her, getting tortured. And we're like, what the hell's going on? And then the cloth, whatever the fuck it is, gets pulled off, and we see that it's her.
Yeah.
And she's getting tortured.
I like that.
By young Suk. And that's the end.
I like
Some
that.
People,
That's
though,
wild.
I was reading a lot of comments on
Yeah.
like IMDb and stuff, and a lot of people were upset at the end. But again, it's a Korean horror film. They don't end. It's not this cliche ending that you're going to get. Not everything's always happy. I mean, look at I Saw the Devil.
Yeah, and it's very common for horror / thriller films, not probably thriller as much, but horror films to have some kind of ending credits or ending where the bad guy twitches a finger or something. So I don't mind it.
Or a hand. Out of
Yeah, or out of the grave grab
Yes.
someone or something. Yeah, so I don't mind that. I think that's creative enough. I don't love a mid-credit scene because you're just assuming people are going to sit through most of the credits. That's
Yes.
why I don't like when films do it. But yeah, I don't mind that. And that does not ruin the film for me in any capacity. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah? Would you recommend it?
Oh, definitely. I think
what
right now it currently stands at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, it does.
I don't know if it's that.
It was 6 reviewers for 100.
Oh, okay. So
But
that's,
the audience score is pretty high, and there was
Yeah.
quite a few people with the audience score as well.
I think it's a tough one. I think I like I Saw the Devil more still.
Oh, yeah, no, I like I Saw the Devil more still, but
One of my favorite.
I
I
really did enjoy this movie. I
Yeah,
thought the
as far
concept
as
was
films
awesome.
that came out in 2020, one of the best.
Oh, absolutely, and very well executed too.
Yes,
for
absolutely.
how crazy the premise
Again, a
was.
high concept.
Yes.
that was well executed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that is our review. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notifications. We drop videos here every single day. If you guys want to follow us on our podcast or listen to us on our podcast, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher, social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Have You Seen It Podcast, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. And until next time.
Bye.